Welcome to Rich Conversations. This is another one of our weekly guided reflection sessions where we're going to take about 40 to 55 minutes out of our day to simply just think more intentionally about our own lives. And this is a great time of year to do that. It's the beginning of the year. It's 2025. This is the first reflection session of the year. So welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you for really expressing curiosity and interest in your own life and development and the ability to help everything around you. It's fun. We're going to start this session how we do every session, and that's 5 minutes of breathing. So I'll set a timer for 5 minutes. All right, so we want to sit kind of flat in the chair or on a flat surface, right? Sitting up straight as much as you can. And all we're going to do is just breathe in and breathe out. Oh, there goes the timer. Just in and out. And if thoughts come to mind, just let them pass. They're not important right now. All right, 5 minutes of breathing. And the purpose of that is just to really just recenter ourselves so that we're a lot clearer and able to just be more present in the next moment. So bring out your notebooks. Maybe you have a new one for the new year. That's exciting. That's energizing. Or, if you're just listening to this, maybe just be conscious of the answers you'll have to these questions. Or maybe you're typing. That's fine too. Whatever it is that works for you, it works for you. And we're going to start this with the same question we have done for the previous years, and that's, what are we grateful for? It's a great place to start. Gratitude and patience. Big fan. So let's think about what we're grateful for right now in life. Yeah, what are we grateful for? Great place to start. Hopefully the year has treated you well so far. My New Year's, I had a cold, and so I didn't really do anything. I'm coming to the party a little late, I guess. But I feel great about this year, 2025. I had a lot of momentum. We've built a lot of momentum going into this year. We published our children's book, The Boy and the Rocket Ship, Ken and I. So that's been energizing. And so that was something to end the year on a high note. And then I also won my fantasy football league. And so I intended to celebrate. I have this cigar. Oh, yeah. But I was sick. So I couldn't really, or I didn't want to celebrate at that moment. So I guess now we have it. Let's think about what was the biggest thing to celebrate of 2024. I don't mean this session to be like a New Year's reflection stuff. Maybe you did some of that on your own. That's not what really this is. We're just like hitting the ground running. But I do think it's important to just think about this and just note it for yourself. What was the biggest reason to celebrate in 2024? Yeah. I'm really proud of that fantasy football win, championship. I'm in this really competitive league with my brother-in-law and like all of his friends. And we've had this league since 2017. And I've mentioned it before, but whenever I have two fantasy teams, I'm in two leagues, only one will really get the attention. And this last year, I was only in one league. I'm in one league, this one, and I'm going to win it. And so I had a phenomenal draft. I made one big trade, and I traded Aaron Jones, and I received Jerry Jeudy. And he performed well. Very proud. But yeah, we made a book, The Boy and the Rocket Ship. My rule last year, I think I did some of these on the podcast, but My rule last year for myself was that I could only smoke a cigar for every book I wrote. So, something I realized, like, I didn't specify the terms of it. So it wasn't published, it was written. And I wrote 5 books. And so this is the 5th cigar. And I was kind of disappointed I was in this deficit for a while, and then like the last week I wrote a new book, and we're going to publish it in March. This year, the rule for cigars is every book published. So it's not as ambiguous as written, because it's more clear and decisive. So I'm thinking at least 10 books. So that'd be 10 cigars. I'm going to release 2 in January. Chicago Clarity and Paris Beauty. So let's ask ourselves this next question. What's the biggest thing we're energized for in 2025? I think that's important to like look forward to something, have like a clear big thing. This is turning into like a New Year's goal setting reflection session. Maybe we'll switch it up. So the times I smoked a cigar last year, in case you're curious, in January, so last December, I wrote the books that I'm going to publish this month. So like a year has actually passed. But I wrote those. So in January, in like back-to-back weeks, I smoked cigars. I like this cigar place. I've been into cigars since I was like 17, 18. So it's always been kind of part of my life. And those were the first 2 times. And then over the summer, a friend invited me on his rooftop, and we smoked cigars on his rooftop. He had just introduced a baby boy into their family. And yeah, he's like, hey, you want to smoke a cigar? I was like, yes. So there's that. And then Ken Ferguson and I, before I moved away from Chicago, him and I together went to a steakhouse, RPM Steakhouse in River North in Chicago, and then, had some steak. It was phenomenal. And then we just walked around along the river, and then we sat on a park bench and we just smoked cigars together. So that was the 4 times. And those were for some books. The Nuance and Notes, Chicago and Paris, The Boy in the Rocket Ship, and which other one? I think New York. I think I'm finished with Nuance and Notes, New York. So that was 4. And then I wrote, like, the last 2 weeks of 2024, I wrote a 5th book. And that's what this cigar is for. When I was in Chicago for my birthday, I was walking to where we were meeting up. We met up at this French restaurant, La Grande Bouchière. I don't know how to pronounce it. And I stopped in, bought a cigar. I have this favorite spot in Chicago. But before I go further, what is something like that you celebrate? You know, like what's your thing? Like, I like cigars. Is there something you like? And then also, is there a place that you go for these moments, right? I go to this cigar shop called Ewan Reese, and it's downtown Chicago on Wabash in the Loop, and it's on the second floor of this place, and it's awesome. It's been there since 1857, and you know, if you're gonna buy a cigar, like, have the whole experience. I feel like enjoy it, but you know, what's that for you? Yeah, I bought this lighter there. So sick. The issue is that the like fluid, I think, evaporates. So then the flame is never around when I need it. You know? But it's cool. I do love this thing. It's fun to play with too, like flipping it open and closed. Yeah, so this year I plan to smoke 10 cigars, at least. And that's the publication of the books. No longer, like, the written has to be out in the world, shared. I feel very empowered right now. How do you feel? How do you feel right now? What's a word? I bought this backdrop today for these sessions, and I'm gonna use it like right over here. I wonder if it's actually, I don't know. You'll have to check it out. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. I'm energized for it. I was watching this, I would say Michael Jordan is on my mind right now. 23. The significance of that number. I'm going to drop 2 books. I'm going to publish 2 books on January 23rd. Why the 23rd? Well, because it's it's like that Jordan number, right? But the book is Chicago Clarity. It's a Chicago book. And so the 23rd, the cover has the number 23 on it. It's just like so fitting. And right now I'm actually doing 23 days of no caffeine. And then the first time I'm able to drink caffeine again, consume caffeine again, is going to be on the 23rd. I actually started December 31st, so that I'll have 23 days, so that on the 23rd day, I release the book, and then I have my first cup of coffee in 23 days. It's going to be magical. And I'm on day 9 now, and it's much easier than I thought it would be. The 25th, I'm going to a show in Chicago to celebrate, and it's this French pop band, L'Impératrice. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I love them, and I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. Their lead singer left, so now they replaced their singer with someone else, so that'll be interesting. My heart was broken when that occurred, so we'll see what it's like, but some friends and I are going to the show, and it's really fitting too because the other book we're dropping is going to be called Paris Beauty. At least that's what it is right now. But it's a book of Paris. It's a Paris book. So it's very fitting that on the 23rd we're dropping the Chicago book, the Paris book, and then in Chicago we're going to this Parisian band at actually one of the venues very close to where I used to live, where I moved from. So that'll be cool. What's something you're doing right now? Are you doing something right now? This just happened to line up with New Year's, the no caffeine for 23 days. The reason I'm doing it is because I finished writing a novel back in December, and I did 30 days of no caffeine in July. And after 6 years of never missing a day, consuming caffeine, coffee, in the form of coffee, espresso, I reset my brain chemistry. And when I came back, it was like rocket fuel. That first cup of coffee was insane. It was so memorable. And then I eventually went full throttle and wrote a novel. And so now understanding that by like taking a step back, we can gain something from it. And then when we come back, it's going to hit even harder. It's going to be more impactful. We'll be more precise. So that's what I'm going to do. Coming back, I'm going to finish up revisions and then go into the second novel. And I've had so much joy, like writing. I'm really into writing right now, and pursuing that. I just have so much fun every day, just like working a little bit at it. And so this year's going to be so dynamic. So what's that something for you? Is there something? Yeah, the background's going to be cool. I got it today. There's this other one I was looking at, but I'm going to see. I might actually get two. But the other one might go in the office for recording podcast episodes with guests on Zoom. I can use the hotspot here in the farmhouse. So I don't have Wi-Fi here. And so when I need to use the internet, I use Wi-Fi. Or a hotspot. And I'm actually able to do Zoom with the hotspot, but I don't know how reliable it's going to be. The office right now, I don't like the aesthetic. I think I can improve it a lot. So I'm going to focus on that. I should have measured this wall. Should be good though. Should be. I was really inspired by my friend Matt Bones. He was in this band called Bone Lane, one of my favorite bands. And they're on hiatus right now. He's doing a solo project, and he recorded his whole album by himself, playing every single instrument. Super talented. His thought was, if I'm gonna like do this solo project, like the start of it and something new, I should go through that experience, at least once in life, because he knows tons of talented musicians and artists that could help out, but he wanted to like do every aspect of it. Meanwhile, my other friend Sammy, they're on hiatus. He's in LA now. Shout out to LA wildfires. Be safe. That's scary, seeing all that smoke and stuff. But he's in LA and he's about to put out his third album. He's going very fast, breakneck speed, and I've learned a lot from him. I've learned a lot from both. I would actually I would hang out with Bone Lane, this band Bone Lane, and we would do a lot of recording behind the scenes and for their paywall for fans, and then I would record shows with them, go on tour with them, and we had so much fun. It was so much fun. So inspiring, so insightful, and something I learned from Bones is like digital file organization. And we're always talking that kind of stuff. And Sammy and I are talking about different stuff, and more so along the art and marketing aspect, I would say, or the heart of the passion and the art and the whereas Bones is more the like mechanical and the like engineering part. And anyways, you put up a video and I saw a background of him, and it was their old like Persian rug that they had. It was an heirloom in Sammy's family, and Bones has it right now because they used to live together in the studio for like 10 years. And I'm like, I like that. I'm doing that. But I haven't found like a good setup that I love. Is there a family heirloom that you have that gets passed down generation to generation? I've been thinking a lot lately about consumption and our habits as a culture and the products we produce. Those family heirlooms really seem like a rare thing now. Everything is designed to last 2 or 3 years, maybe 7 years, depending on what it is and how big of a investment it is. And even though they're designed to like break, they're still expensive in a way. Very few things are built to last. And so what happens as a culture when our mindset is not to buy for long term, or build for long term? Everything just feels so cheap and so cookie cutter and throwaway. And so how does that permeate culture? How does that affect relationships and people's perspectives with friendships and family and community and careers, right? People hop around from one place for 2 years, then another place 3 years. Before it was like 40 years. You just worked there until you retired or whatever, and you had like a pension, or I don't know. It's just something I'm thinking about more and more. And what does it mean as a culture when everything is designed to not last? And at the same time, the cost of these things, because there's no other option, they're probably more expensive than they should be. And then we throw them away, and then it creates so much waste. But we do have optionality. We can buy anything. For example, I just bought this tapestry today. A tapestry. I never thought I would say that. Really into tapestries right now. But I went through a lot of options, and I picked one that just fitted what I needed. And it's going to be here in 2 days. One I liked more would get here between 3 weeks from now and like 7 weeks from now. And I'm weighing how much of importance is it to get it right now. It would have been more expensive too. This other one was cheaper. And it's crazy to think like this tapestry, the material's not high quality, But I will use it for years probably. But I think about tapestries when I visit like palaces or like old like houses turned museums, and the tapestries were so important, and the tapestries would tell stories of the kingdoms or the families and like the royal lineage, and I just bought one for like $17. And it's going to be delivered in 2 days. So the question is, what's our relationship with consumption? How are we participating? Like 2 examples on me right now is this pen, right? This is actually the last thing of my wardrobe or ensemble, whatever it is, accessories, that was not in my color scheme. I had these silver and black zebra pens that I always used. I really loved them, but I had to go. So the gold fits with everything. These are fantastic pens. The brand is like Jubilee or something, but you can't refill the ink. So I throw them away. So I buy like 6 or 12 at a time, and I go through them, and I write quite a bit, and I throw them out. These shoes, these are my indoor shoes. When my outdoor shoes, come to their time, have reached their point of destiny, then I throw those out, and then these become my outdoor shoes, and I have the exact same pair that becomes my indoor shoes. So the same pair of shoes, I just buy multiples of, and I just rotate through them. Maybe it used to be like 3 times a year. Does that seem right? And I would always christen them on a trip. So when I walk out the door, my indoor shoes are my outdoor shoes, and then we're headed to Miami. We're headed to New York. We're headed to Paris, you know? But really, if I bought just higher quality of shoes, I wouldn't have to throw out these things. You know what I mean? So it's certainly something on my end that I think about. It's so convenient, and it's so easy to just throw things away. Buy things, use them, throw them away. And I get great use out of them, I will say, like of the products that I do buy, because I don't spontaneously buy things. And I look at the products that are on the market. It's just like all these, what do you call them? Like tinkerings, or I don't know, these small trinkets, all these little trinkets that are, cool for 30 seconds. And you throw them away. And we never really think about where it goes, what happens to it, who it affects. When I go out, I see so many people in sweatpants, and it drives me nuts. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, that's how the consumption and the casualness of everything bleeds into culture. It affects how people dress themselves, what they're wearing, which then affects their mind. So then our minds are only thinking more short term and what's in front of us, and I want it now and instant. And again, so that's it's not like I don't participate in it in a way, but it's interesting. Where was this from? This is actually Romeo and Julieta. Where are they from? Are they from Dominican Republic? These are pretty standard, good, solid cigars, but I always buy from the label. If it looks regal, that's my thing. That's how I buy. That's how I make decisions. It cuts down on the decision-making process for me. So, when I buy bottles of wine, it's always based on the label, the region and label. This is actually an Italian wine, Chianti. Usually, I exclusively drink French wines, but I was thinking about my guy Leonardo da Vinci. And so I got a wine from that like Florence region. Also, Milan is on my mind. I'd like to visit Milan and Rome. Florence, yeah, but definitely Milan and Rome. And then Venice. If I could hit up Venice, that'd be cool. Where would you like to go next? Whether it's a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, like what your next place you want to be to take you out of your current present geographical location. Actually, the next place for me is Mexico City. Last week, the thought just came to me. I think it was the weather has to do with it. I was back in Mexico City in late February, early March 2023. And it was every day was 80s and sunny. It was so glorious. And right now it's in the 20s, in the teens in Wisconsin. The sun sometimes says hi. Otherwise, it's pretty gray. And I don't know, Mexico City was on my mind, and friends there, people I enjoy. And I had a dream about Mexico City the other day. And then today I changed my desktop wallpapers to Mexico City. I like doing that. It like psychs me up, hypes me up for something coming up. I changed the wallpaper on my MacBook. It's inspiring. And since I'm not writing right now, the novel, that's what it is, Mexico City. For the novel, it's been awesome where every scene I change the wallpaper. So it like sets the vibe, and then also I can see what's here. And that's like a nice thing about writing the novel is that I can just write from the image. Instead of my imagination in a way. So I feel like it speeds up the process and kind of the accuracy and the vibe. So all I'm doing is just writing describing what's here in front of me and what I've experienced. It's been interesting. And so the last one was in London, and it was the Natural History Museum. And they have this big whale. It's like whale fossils or bones. Like a blue whale in the middle of this. It's like a cathedral. It looks like a cathedral, the Natural History Museum in London. And something very significant happens in the novel, in that setting, outside of it. It's called The Gate of Clouds. Second novel, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I haven't started, but the ideas and the material is marinating. Yeah, Mexico City. Had tacos today. Thought of Mexico City. Talked to my friend last night. Mexico City. I like traveling in places, and then it's kind of like back in the day, the iPhones would have a thumb, like a home button. And when you started it up, you'd have your fingerprint there. And it would ask you first to like do a big one. And then it would ask you again for the big one, and then like sides. So you're filling in all these crevices and nuances. And that's kind of like what I feel with traveling to like one particular place. First you get the big impression, a majority of it, a majority of the like vibe. And then you just fill it in around the edges, and that's something I would like to do with Mexico City. Our brothers and sisters to the south are like, our friends. It's funny because they take pride, I think, in being neighbors with the U.S. So a lot of the like apparel you'll see, the sports teams will be Yankees, Dodgers. I think there's Raiders. There's a little bit of Steelers, Lakers, Bulls. Pittsburgh Pirates, I think. I think that was like a weird one where I saw apparel, like multiple apparel of it. Bulls for sure. Yeah, Mexico City. Riding motorcycles around throughout the local neighborhoods. Oh, and stopping for tacos and queso fundido. Yeah. Yeah. What kind of food is on your mind right now? We just had the holidays. So is there like a holiday food that you've been consuming a lot more of? For me, gingerbread cookies. Love me some gingerbread flavoring. I indulge like the last 2 weeks of December, maybe like 3 weeks of December. I indulge. Like I have a particular diet that I follow, and I'm pretty disciplined with it. The last 3 weeks of December, hey, go do your thing. So it usually consists of a lot of added sugars to products. Add sugar to the coffees, cookies, ice cream. Big fan of ice cream. Yeah, tacos. Chorizo, avocado, onions, cilantro. Yeah. I'm really curious about the designs on building facades in Mexico City. When I was there in 2023, I was really into light fixtures. So I have all these photos in Mexico City of different light fixtures, places that I went to. All right, we'll finish this session with a couple of classic questions. What are we curious about recently? And what are we energized for in the next week? I appreciate you being here. It makes a big difference. Any progress you want in life, or any project you're working on, or endeavor, it's these small steps. It's these nuances, these details. Just making a little bit of progress, and the accumulation of it is really where the impact is, the results are. So whatever it may be, right? Like getting in good shape, or losing weight, or writing a book, whatever it may be. It's like these just incremental, just in the present, every day, just doing these small habits. And that's something I track. In 2024, I experimented with designing an external brain for myself. And what that is essentially outsourcing all my thinking and organization of life to a system I developed in Google Drive, like Google spreadsheets and docs. And what it really does is allow me to be as present as possible every day, because I know it's taken care of. Like all the things, so many things are on our mind all the time. Or we're worrying about something that's in the future, that's not even here, or that won't even happen, right? And it's affecting us right now in this moment. So the idea and the purpose of this is to clear our mind, right? Designate time to organize all that other information, right? You set aside time. I set time aside every single day to do it. So that right here, right now, we're just clear. We can experience what's happening. We can see what's happening and react to it. And then every week, we review it. So we review all the information, all the data from the previous week. And it was so much fun. Every single week, I'm reviewing how I performed in life based on how I designed, the rules or the goals or whatever. It's gamifying life. Oh, the book is in another room. Finite and Infinite Games by James Cars. Good book. I'm trying to think if I have the... See, the external brain is an idea stemming from this David Allen book called Getting Things Done. And it's that concept, right? We want to be as present as possible. And what occupies a lot of our mind, our real estate on our mind, is all these things that we're thinking about that aren't here right now, but because we don't have a system to put it somewhere or dedicate time to address it, it just is on our mind. It's like this chaos, right? So by kind of like outsourcing it, we do that. And I break it down into like a box score, it reflects mostly a basketball box score, like field goal percentage, free throws percentage. So the daily action items are field goal percentage. That's like points, and I get points. I accumulate points. And then the weekly is the free throws. And the weekly is broken up into professional, habits, and personal. So there's 3 sections. But the overall win, and this is how it reflects football, there's 52 weeks in the year. And so with this system, I determine during the weekly review and then setting up the next week, I identify between 1 and 5 things. It gets a little crazy if I do more than 5, like 8, because then you're not really focusing, right? You want to. I've noticed you want to do it a little smaller amount, and you have to reach at least 70% of the focus to consider it a win. And so last year, I was 26 and 26, and I set a championship goal. So what is the equivalent of winning a championship? And I didn't do it. So I didn't win a championship, and I was 26 and 26. And what this does, though, is it exposes flaws, or it helps identify areas of improvement. So what I noticed for myself is that most of the losses came from trying to do too much than is actually possible with time and energy. And it like a miscalculation in priority and focus and objectives. So it's a learning thing. It's something I'm like working with, developing. If you're interested, let me know. I'm thinking about designing one that other people can use and develop for themselves. But then every week I do a weekly review. I have certain questions and I answer those questions every week. And it's one of the most fun part of my weeks. It makes my Mondays fun. It makes me look forward to Mondays. And I've never been able to say that, really. Maybe. The weekly reviews are fun. And that's the thing about life. If we're not reviewing, right? If we're not doing these reflections, if we're not thinking and evaluating, spending time on actions and who we are, what we want, then the progress doesn't get made, right? So it's taking that time for reflection and then taking right actions and steps forward and then coming back and reevaluating it. So thank you for being here today. This is our first one of 2025. I'm so glad you made it. We'll keep doing it. We'll see you next time. Inspire the future. Be dynamic. Smoke cigar. Celebrate.